The Unwanted.
He's a man. I'm a woman.
Bring up the screen. Make sure everything's going well.
Mike, did you see that our guy Jay Dyer was on InfoWars today?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and we're live, everyone. Live. Union of the Unwanted.
Live.
Yeah, and the Ripple Effect podcast got a little plug because I tuned in to see Jay Dyer on, and then Alex Jones brought up his page, and I didn't realize he still had our interview on top of his page. I'm like, oh shit! I'm on InfoWars.
I saw that. You got a nice little freebie out of it.
Yeah, a little plug.
I love that, dude. I'm glad Alex Jones is giving you some love, or giving us some love, and giving Jay Dyer some love. Jay Dyer's great at what he does, and it's like real fun. And you know what, man? I was just like thinking about that big event we did, and like who I forgot. I wish I would have remembered Edge of Wonder and the Grimerica guys. That's who I wish I would have remembered to have them on there, because they would be great to have on the show as well. So I called them and apologized.
And I know Ryan from The Last American Vagabond wanted to be on. He had internet problems. Whitney Webb, similar thing. And then Richard Grove and Brev Vanat from the School Sucks Project all wanted to be on if we did another one. I mean, so I guess let's get. How did you guys feel about that whole thing? What do you think we got out of it? Like, what did you think of the discussion and whatnot?
I think I really carried everybody. You know, I really was.
I was thinking that too. Yeah.
You know,
we were just talking about that off air. Yes,
we were getting all techie.
No, I thought it was great, man. I thought it was cool to see everybody excited to be with each other. And, you know, we got some really great names on there. So I thought it was great. And I thought it was a great, first step.
Yeah, I agree. I think what I got out of it, especially with the talk and James Corbett's opinion, is that keeping decentralized is the key. And if we can just so happen to funnel people to one area by gobbling up their stuff and maybe presenting it in an interesting way, so be it. But let everyone do their own thing. And if we can, I don't want to force anybody to a platform, but if we can get them to voluntarily sign up to have their content displayed somewhere, great. But it was a nice conversation between everyone.
Yeah, I thought it was nice that the way James was laying it out was like, everybody be responsible for your own stuff. That doesn't mean every man for himself. Yeah. Everybody can help each other out, support each other, and do those sorts of things that we need. But at the same time, like, make sure that you're taking care of your own, your own website and your own platforms and your own content. You're responsible for that. But let's all acknowledge that we're in this. If you want to talk about we're all in it together. The whole COVID thing, that of course is utter dog shit, because we're not in it together with everybody else, because everyone's got a different opinion. But we in the alternative media, we're most definitely all in this together. In it meaning overt censorship in a variety of different ways that is not just limiting the message, which is the most important part, but it's also limiting our ability to make a living doing this, or at least just barely survive doing it. So even that's been taken out. So I thought it was great to get everybody in one spot and share some interesting ideas. One thing I came away with is that I am technologically retarded, and I'm really glad that everyone else isn't, because they're able to go into the details about what actually works and how these internet protocols that seem to be a better solution for getting around censorship. So I thought it was like you said, Sam, it was a really good first conversation. It got a lot of people thinking, and but it's not the last one that we'll have to do.
Well, I had James on yesterday, and I haven't got the podcast up yet, but I plan on doing it very soon. And we kind of talked about it again. And, one thing that I was telling him that I talked about on the podcast, and I think we all agree is super necessary, is it's great that everybody has their own platforms. But the problem is, like, how are you going to find a James Corbett? How are you going to find a Tinfoil Hat podcast or Charlie or Mike's show? How are you going to find these things if we don't find a way to bypass, YouTube and Google and all that stuff, because they're obviously not suggesting our shows, and they're obviously not going to help us in any way, shape or form. So, having something like a app or a channel or something that's constantly streaming alternative media uncensored, kind of like what Mike's been working on recently. I brought up the Truth Seeker app. It obviously isn't very great or good, but it's kind of a idea of what something could be, somewhere where you can get suggestions. We basically want, and James Corbett said it yesterday, and it's true, we basically want something like YouTube when it first was YouTube, when you could really go down rabbit holes, where I could run into, the OBDM podcast, and then next thing you know, the Tinfoil Hat podcast is being suggested on the right, and I click on that, and I'm listening to Sam, and then I get another suggestion, something like that. So I think stuff like that is a great idea. What Mike's doing on D Live, I think, is a great idea too, because you might go on and just know that there's a bunch of cool shows and might be exposed to other people's work. So I think all those things are great ideas, but I don't think that we can just do it completely on our own, like Charlie's saying. I think we do need to help each other, because the fight is against people who have all the power, people who have all the control, and all the sites that get all the traffic. So it's like we have to come together and find alternatives to consume alternative media. And if we can do something like we talked about, I think we all agreed on the call, it is really important for everybody to have their own website, their own accounts or whatever, but find a way to feed that all to one spot where you can get exposed to all those other accounts and websites and stuff like that. Does that make sense, Mike?
That's exactly what I'm working on. So after
tell us what you're working on, Mike, because what you're doing is
what I've done so far.
I know, I'm getting all these emails, and I'm like, man, I know it's cool, but I don't know what the fuck it is.
So what I have, and
join the club.
What I'll be testing this weekend is that I have an application, a program that will go out to brokensimulation.com, grab the 12 most recent posts, get the URLs from YouTube, download those videos, put them in a playlist, and restream it to D Live, like our own TV station. I'm using Broken Simulation basically as the database. So that's step one. The step two would be doing the same thing with podcasts. I'll be grabbing everyone's podcast feed who wants to, downloading it and sharing them. And the idea is also to grab the artwork and description of everyone to build like a rabbit hole app. So that's my phase 2 or 3.
That's awesome, dude. That is awesome. And I knew that's exactly why I didn't know what the fuck you're talking about, because that's some advanced shit. And I love that, dude. That is great. And that's what necessary, I back to what James was saying. I know that there were people on that call that have some people with heavy pockets trying to develop their thing. I know that Jimmy Dore didn't join us, but he has somebody. Tommy G has somebody. Ben has somebody. But you should build your own shit. They should 100% have their own shit. But like Ricky was saying, we need somewhere where, where you can discover other content you really like without it burying it, and without the front page being ESPN and MSNBC and CNN and even Fox News. It's like, I cannot believe how everybody is just blowing Fox News right now. It's just like, dude, don't forget what happened 9/11. They led the charge on weapons of mass destruction. Mm-hmm. Why are we moving on from that? We should never move on from that. We should always be like, yeah, this Obama stuff, but guess what? The Bushes are just as bad too. So, Mike, I love what you're doing. I think it's great. And, man, I'm really excited to see how it all turns out.
Yeah, so it's fun to work on, some interesting technical challenges, but I just like making something go. It's cool to have your own radio. It's almost like a pirate radio station, with your friends. Yeah. So you just throwing something out there. It's fun.
So is it similar to like what Media Monarchy does, James Evan Pilato? Because he has like a 24/7 radio station, right?
It's something similar to that. Video has its own technical challenges, but what the app will be is you'll be able to go to a website. And my goal is to make it look like iTunes, but for conspiracy, paranormal, and alt media.
I love that, dude.
That's awesome.
The key is shininess,
yes.
Dude. That's what I think is the key to everything, because everybody is like, that's the whole thing. It's like all these great websites have like a very like, we're just starting. Nobody remembers YouTube when it first started and how it looked. It looked like, I mean, at the very beginning, what BitChute looks like and all these other guys look like. No one remembers that. And it was through like the truth community that this YouTube blew up. And now we're getting like excommunicated. We got to do something that kind of has a little shine to it to catch people's eyes, because we're all just monkeys with wearing sneakers and we just like shiny objects. So I think it's great, Mike, what you're doing. I'm excited to see how it looks.
Shiny and suggestive.
Yes.
I like the thing about YouTube that was so great was that I didn't know what I wanted to watch necessarily, but I found it because it would, after the video ended, I'd have 8 different options and I would say, oh, that looks cool. And so I would find a video that I didn't even know I wanted to watch until it was suggested to me. And it might be from somebody that I didn't even know anything about until it was suggested to me. And then I found that. And, so if someone asked me, how do you know about tinfoil hat and OBDM? And my answer is, I don't know. I have no idea how I came to ripple effect and all these things. I don't know. I just saw them one day, clicked on it, liked it. So it needs to work in a way that it puts these, all these options in front of your eyeballs and then lets you pick something that YouTube has obviously gone away with from us. So
it has to learn. It has to learn what you like first. So that, anybody who signs up is going to have a profile. So my unique recommendation, kind of like X Factor, like YouTube uses like what you watched recently and to predict what you want. I'm going to include something else. I'm going to include your astrological sign. So if you're a Taurus, you're more likely to go towards something else.
That is so funny, man. That is so funny, dude.
Yeah, it's an X factor. It'd be interesting to see how that works because as a Sagittarius, I might be attracted to more Gemini kind of stuff.
Dude,
I'm serious. I'm dead serious.
Guys, if we were the A team, who is everybody?
You're Hannibal.
I'm the guy with am I Mr. T since I had a show at one point?
Yeah, I'd like to be, but I have a feeling I'd be Murdoch, unfortunately.
I like to smoke cigars. So,
all right, yeah, you organize everything. I like that.
So,
Ernest, you look like George Papard. What's your favorite A-Team character?
Ernest, you there, bud? Are you at Pork Fest? He can't hear us. I don't know what's going on. But
the lizard people.
But that app is a great idea, and it does, like Sam said, even if other people develop similar apps, it doesn't all have to. I mean, there's Spotify, there's Pandora, there's there's competition, and that's all right. But we definitely, I mean, the one thing that we all agreed on was that aspect of it. I mean, some of the stuff that I thought was kind of silly, I shouldn't say silly because I don't want to be rude, but what I mean is like some of the stuff about like finding codes to try to get this stuff on Facebook, like don't use use like that's not a bad idea. But the problem is like we're still ignoring the fact that like we're basically attempting to use the platform instead of saying let's find alternatives to the platform, and it's like because either way they're going to find a way to figure out our little tricks, and next thing you know we're going to be stuck in the same place again. So it's like instead of people like Jason Burmis, I was on Ernest's show last week and we were talking about how he told me that Luke from We Are Change is constantly telling him how he has like he has another backup channel and all this stuff, and Ernest is like, just get off YouTube, like stop getting backup channels, just get off, like all your content can't all be on YouTube. I mean, look what happened to Sam, everything just disappeared. If he didn't have backups or whatever, like, if he didn't have broken simulation, like he'd be screwed, people wouldn't be able to get the videos.
Man, it's like, here's my whole thing. It's like, you ask yourself.
Yeah, I don't have the audio coming in.
You hear us, Ernest?
Ernest?
On.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. You can't hear us. What am I? Yeah.
Anybody know sign language?
Hey there.
Well, my whole thing is as he figures it out, I just want to say that, the question is, if Alex Jones could be back on YouTube, would Alex go back on YouTube? Yeah, we hear you. We
hear you.
Can hear you.
We hear you.
Yes, we hear you. We hear you. Yes. Yes.
And Ernest came on to talk to us about tech while he's having technical issues.
That's right.
So my whole thing is like, I know Alex Jones, if given a chance, he'd go back to YouTube. It's the marketplace. But like Alex Jones has banned TV, you have to have both. So we need to, I don't think anybody's like, I'm leaving YouTube. Well, that'd be stupid to do that, because you should ride that for as long as you can ride that, because that's where the marketplace is. But we need an alternative place where people on YouTube be like, hey, dude, where's your videos? Yeah, they kicked me off. I'm over here. And then they could go over there, but then they could find all your shows too. So that's kind of my thought. I mean, to leave YouTube would be dumb, in my opinion.
I agree.
But I think we should be able to start finding out these other solutions to these problems. I think we need a second place for everybody to meet up.
Well, I think they all should be tools that we take advantage of. I mean, I don't like YouTube. I don't like Twitter and I really don't like Facebook, but it would be silly of me to not use it while I still have it, to at least advertise, this show or any other articles or anything else. I mean, even if they're limiting my reach, if one person gets exposed to it, it's kind of worth doing. It is a free service. Why not? So, like you said, we could have other platforms, other alternatives, but if we can continue to use those other huge platforms in any way whatsoever to our benefit, why not?
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I totally agree. And, I think we just got to the way the fans reacted to all of us meeting together was like pretty awesome. Like it was like their WrestleMania, they were just so excited that all of us were like under one show. And I think we should do another one of those. Think about all the people we didn't invite to the first one, bring them on the second one, and just keep doing that, because I think
it was nice for fans. It'd be nice. It was nice for fans to realize that, like, oh, we're all in this together. Like everybody that I like these guys are, they're all together. They might have different views on certain things, but when it comes down to it, they all have each other's back. And to see that unity, because as we know, in the alternative media world, there is sometimes divide, because I don't believe lasers took down Tower 7 or whatever it may be, but people have a slightly
chill.
I'm a chill. I think one of the funniest parts of that whole podcast was Gordo at the end. I think Sam was gone when he's like, yeah, I get demonetized. I don't even go hard. I don't even talk about Jews. That was hysterical.
Is
my favorite? Go on.
Sorry, is Ernest ready? Is he there?
He's there.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh, 1 minute.
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you, Ernest.
You can put it through my headset. It's going through the speaker on the whatever. I can deal with it.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, Ernest, so we were talking about how the last podcast went, the one when we had the whole SwapCast with everybody together. Mike is actually in the process of, Mike, you want to do a better job of explaining what you're doing?
Oh, just when it comes to everything we talked about, currently I'm just creating a few scripts and programs to stream to one D Live channel. So all this, I just kind of suck up all the content that we currently produce and stream it to one channel, like our own radio station. Then I spun up a server. I got an interplanetary file system node on my second server, and I just downloaded the desktop for the IPFS. And so I got the desktop, I got the browser thing. I'm just kind of going through the command lines and figuring out how to use it and to back it up. But it's all part of a collection of technologies that we will be using as the mainstream technology continues to collapse.
Yeah, you already know more than me.
Yeah.
You don't have an IT guy. We're at Pork Fest, and Derek's over there. He goes, Let me know when these guys are ready. We can work on it. What we've done with the IPFS, we set the servers and so on that we're accumulating all our data. So what happens is we have the Freedom's Phoenix and Corbett and Pirates and so on. We accumulate all the data. So we formatted it and showed that it could be done and everything. But then we haven't really worked on that part that much because we're getting all the data. But on freedomsphoenix.com, any article that's over 24 hours old, so we have, we've got the back end done and ready, and it's just we keep working on making it more seamless and do what we want by archiving all our data. But it's not like a plug and play for somebody to come in and do it. If you guys needed help, we can make sure that happens. But we've been busting butt working on it for us. I mean, there's only a few of us, and we're just kicking ass. But if you guys went and researched it a little bit, talk about it. What do you guys think? What did you?
I like it. So for me, as I download videos and as I download our podcasts, I'm going to be adding them to the IPSF as a backup. So currently they exist everywhere. It's someday they may not be, but as of right now, so I'm using it as a fallback. Like this is our trench, and I'm backing things up to that last trench, which is the IPFS. As I discover how to use it more, I'll be telling Charlie and Sam and even Ricky how to use this and what it means.
That's great, dude. I love tech comedy.
The main thing that Ricky and we did a show we were talking about. You get to spend time on the show. You kind of get an idea what we're up to and our philosophy and everything. But the main thing is I was really looking for two things. One, no censorship. That whatever I put up, it's there forever and always, and they can suck it. There is no platform to take down. That once I understood that it could do that, we spent years setting this up to where your mama. Then the other thing was hailing frequencies invisible to the crown. That's we're talking to a Horizon guy over here, and I remember when Rob Viglione came on my show years ago, and at the end of an hour interview, I was talking, look, I just want pirate communication. I don't even want the crown to even know that I was talking to somebody. It's encrypted. I don't care. It's a freedom guy talking to another freedom guy about freedom. I mean, it's a network that I don't want them to know. Hailing frequencies invisible to the crown. Well, then they go, yeah, well, we have that in the last 2 minutes of the show. And I go, don't worry, audience, I'll beat them up in the after show. I'm just like, are you kidding me? You guys need to lead with that. Well, once they started leading with that, I had them on, that was October. I had them on the next May. And all of a sudden, in October, I saw that their crypto, when I was looking at it, shot up. And he goes, yeah, because we started emphasizing that feature, and we had no idea. They just didn't know that it was that popular to be able to be private. So there's two things: no censorship, that they can't take it down, and two, that hailing frequencies invisible to the crown, that you can communicate without them listening in or even getting data on your, even Telegram or Signal or WhatsApp or whatever. They want your phone number. Well, hell, they just mapped out your whole contact list, and then they know how much you're talking to somebody. So so our focus was a little bit different, where a lot of people in social media space were focusing on clicks. We need more clicks. We want some clicks. We need, how popular are we? And you're popular enough that they deplatform you. That's what happens. So I knew that's what was coming. So that's why.
I'm all for it, man. I need to dig in more to the technology. I'd love to, at some point in time down the road, talk to some of your tech guys over there. Maybe I'm going about adding things to the node incorrectly, but I got to say the documentation on the IPFS is pretty immaculate, pretty well understood for anybody who has just a general understanding of Linux. I like it, and I'm just trying to figure out how to best use it for what we're trying to do. And I think right now, just contributing to the node infrastructure, I have my own server, is a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, what we did is to just demonstrate it. Initially, we just did an old laptop. I mean, a really old laptop, and we had it to where we saved to it. And then we started doing Raspberry Pis with terabyte hard drives, and we just made them pirate boxes. So you're not really a pirate until you got a pirate node, So by doing that, we could take with all of James Corbett's stuff, all of Freedom's Phoenix, and all of Luke Radowski's videos. With those right there, it was about a terabyte. So we go, we're probably going to need 2-3 terabyte drives. Well, then the terabyte drives, the 2 terabyte drives started dropping in price, and sooner or later they're going to start giving them as door prizes to give them your phone number or something. So, you have that much data that's already preloaded. So with Freedom's Phoenix, with 400-something thousand articles and 30,000 videos that we scraped off of YouTube, because when you go to our site on Freedom's Phoenix, you're always going and you want to watch a video. Oh, I'm sorry, this video's gone. Yeah, well, suck it. On IPFS, we have it. We scraped them. So that was, some of the listeners that had some tech skills. They go, hey, well, we can help with that project, and I can write a script for whatever, and we can do it. And then Derek kind of manages it, and we accomplished it. The problem was not us doing it. The next stage is just having time. But the next stage is search for the metadata. When we take in Corbett's page, what James went and he did a sitemap thing for us. 18 hours later, his site was on IPFS. So he had to do a little effort for that, however hard that was, I don't know. But once Derek got the feed, boom, it was done. So that way we were able to demonstrate the power of this, because at that time was when they were starting to ban and censor Century of Enslavement, the Federal Reserve video. And I go, if they're going to do that, there's a whole bunch of others they're going to do. So once we demonstrated that, we went to Anarcho-Poco, and I'm, screaming at the end, everybody. They're all making fun. Oh, here comes Ernie, take another shot of whiskey. He's going to say IPFS. I go, yeah? Are you guys starting to be deplatformed? Are you guys starting to be demonetized? You're going to be wanting to know, freaking talk to me next year. I guarantee it. Well, here it comes. When the Plandemic movie trailer came out, and we put that on IPFS, for a lot of people, that was the only place that you could get it. And it was the ability of having that data, those ones and zeros, that they kept putting it up everywhere else. So having a file that you can do something important, that way they can't stop it. So we wanted to demonstrate the technology. There's a bunch of other steps that can be done to really amp this up, but it's you guys. This is what we built it for. We're cool. We're taken care of. We put all our stuff up. We got hundreds of thousands, because when you go to Freedom's Phoenix and use the search engine, it's a bunch of anarchist libertarians that put up all this stuff that's been, a lot of it's been delisted, and we have it. So I'm like, nah. So that's what I knew was coming. And I'm just hoping you guys can embrace just the idea that you can back up everything, and all you need is a terabyte drive or less for all your stuff on IPFS, and it seeds the entire network. The other benefit of it is, as people request it, it duplicates the more people request it on different nodes, so it scales right away. So that's very cool. It gets faster. So the Plandemic movie, you load it up, boom, it starts playing right away. And I'm digging it, and we're really happy that this happened. And I'm glad you guys are looking into it, because I don't see any other way. As you get popular, as you counter the status quo and the man, that's why they bring you down. So you need to have somewhere that it can always be available. Because we house our MP3s on our own servers, and we have our own servers for all our stories and so on, in various different elections of shows that I did a decade before, I got Fox and CNN and MSNBC contacting me about whatever, on some show that we did, where most people, they don't have shows that go back to 03, and they sure as crap don't have them organized in some place that they can be accessed. So that's what I see. It's the retention of knowledge over time. And you can do any ones and zeros, audio, video, text, it's done. So I'm glad you guys are paying attention to it.
It's more important than ever. I just real quick, just 5 seconds. Think of this as the Napster, but for YouTube and podcasting for us.
I love it, dude. I love your passion, man. And man, I'm all in. I'm just computer retarded, to be honest with you, man. But I love what you guys are talking about, and man, I'm all in.
Well, Sam, you got a taste of this back last fall when you woke up and all your YouTube videos were gone. You know, I mean, you realized right then, got to have it backed up somewhere. You got a second chance. You know, obviously they put it back up and everything, but that was a wake up call for you, obviously, but for a lot of people. I mean, it became very real once that happened to you, because you and I remember it because you had Berwick in there, you know, who was in town to do your show, and he was going to talk about something totally different. And then the next thing you know, you guys are all talking about censorship, and it became very real for a lot of people in the alternative media when they watched that episode, and they were like, "Holy shit, they've got Sam now. Who's next?" And the answers were all next. If you get big enough, we're all next. So so Ernest is right, man. We've got to, you know, we have to plan a couple steps ahead. And one of those
I want to say something.
You'll get taken down.
Sorry, Charlie, I didn't mean to cut you up. But I really want to say something. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but a lot of my friends are being accused of some crazy stuff. And right now, and I'm not saying that they didn't do it. I know some of them definitely didn't do it. And some of them, well, you know, I believe in due process. But I'm going to tell you guys something. It is my belief that this is all started because Joe Rogan won't play ball with the DNC. Now, I know we all have theories on what Joe represents and all this stuff, but for 100%, Joe Rogan had that one gentleman on talking about how Joe Biden is cuckoo, his brain is mashed potatoes, and he's not going to be served. And after that, they just went to low-hanging fruit, which was Chris D'Elia, and that got them in. And that's why you're only seeing this one clique of guys getting taken out. It's a mob move where you can't get the guy, you start taking out his soldiers. And so that goes back to what we're talking about, is this, like, you know, once you're on Google and they got you and they got, you know, you're making money and all this stuff, man, when you try to get out of that, they don't like that. And if you don't play well ball with them, they don't like that. And if I told you a year and a half ago that the world economy shut down, there'd be no pro sports, you weren't allowed to go outside, you tell me I was crazy. So when I tell you that this is about taking out a guy who's not playing ball with them, this is 100% what we're dealing with right now. These people at the very top are very afraid of losing control of the message. And they're going to do whatever they can to control it.
I think desperation has started, and we could see it coming. There was, you know, I talked to a lot of the tech guys. You guys probably don't know much about me, but I know a lot of the guys, and I have them come on, and I focus on the tech because it's how we're going to be decentralized and powered down to us. And when we have CubeSats are able to start being put up, I just had a guy came and spent a couple hours with me on their building CubeSats for, that's a long story, but what they want is they want to have low latency ones and zeros going up that's not on an ISP, because that's where they're going to get us next. If you're on, I had Cox problems coming out my butt. You know, I have Verizon and AT&T mobile modems that I'm using on the Love Bus as we're traveling around. Well, AT&T is sucking 540 megabytes of data off of me every 20 minutes. I have to unplug it. I'm like, what the hell are you guys getting? You know, I'm like, what? I'm unplugged. I just screw it, man. You know, the Verizon here is a lot slower. I need AT&T to like do this and do my show in the morning. So I'm going, damn, I got to drag it out to the next. So then we're using slow and hotspots on, you know, whatever the hell. So then I start looking into Starlink. Starlink is starting to do beta testing, and they're going to probably have accounts by the end of the year. But my first question is where the next problem is on IPFS is you still have to have an ISP to get to it. You still have to have ones and zeros traveling somewhere. So how are we doing that? Well, Starlink is going to have a satellite dish on top of my, you know, bus that's going to go up and down to whoever, and go, all right, cool. Well, who's he work for? You know, I mean, you know, him and Trump are buddies. Is he going to have a landing pad for Space Force Starship at the Mars base or something? You know, I just need to know. So then the ones and zeros that are going over Starlink, what's the restriction on that? You know, how is that, you know, going to be? So I'm just worried that we're going to have, it's the ISP thing. So it's going to need to be peer-to-peer communication of ones and zeros going from my computer to yours. So, I mean, there's another step, and they're going to say, you are not allowed internet service. And people don't realize that, like United Kingdom, you have to have a permit to watch TV. You have a license. You got to pay a tax. I'm going, wow, this is coming. So if we don't separate, and a lot of you guys that are more I wanted to ask you guys, this is something that because I didn't give a crap enough to look, but I'd like to, maybe you guys care. When that came on my radar screen was PewDiePie. PewDiePie a few years ago, they were going, oh my God, he had 60 million followers at the time. Then he's 100, 200, whatever the hell it was. And I go, what makes him so great? Well, he's a gamer and he says funny stuff or whatever. Well, YouTube freaked out. And they were, when Google got YouTube, we could see what was going on. So my first YouTube that I ever did was on during the Ron Paul Revolution, starting in like February of 2007. So I go, well, they definitely aren't going to like that. Well, then what happens? Google buys YouTube, stuff happens. A lot of my friends, they start making get a lot of traffic. They're making money. You can make money doing this? Oh my God. And then, boom, demonetization. And this was in like 9, 10, 11. So that's when we stopped using all the social media. We only came back in January, February to say, hey, everybody, we're here to let you know that we're over there. That's the only reason we did it, Well, then, of course, that lasted about 3 to 6 weeks. And I'm going, yep, that's what I figured, okay? So when we have this kind of ability and you're getting a lot of this traffic, like PewDiePie, they go and they say, look, you got, like you were saying about Joe Rogan, you got to be with us. If you're not for us, you're against us, and we need you on board, and you got to say the right things and be sufficiently woke and whatever the hell. So then PewDiePie goes, screw you, I'm going live, down, peace out. Then he signs an exclusive contract deal or something with YouTube. What up with that? What happened? I don't know. What's his deal?
Money talks, bullshit walks. So he signed a deal for 1 year with D Live. He did his time over there. I think that PewDiePie, I don't watch a lot of his channel, and I don't know a hell of a lot about him. He doesn't want to be involved, and at this point, I think he just wants to live his life. That's it. I don't think he wants to battle. He doesn't want to fight for anything. He's going to speak his opinion, and if he gets a contract with YouTube versus Twitch or anybody else, so be it. He is a YouTuber. He's not a Twitch streamer, so it made financial sense for him. Ethically or morally, did it make sense to him if he cares about free speech and censorship? I don't think he cares about it. He's got too much money to care about it at this point. The
contract was he couldn't talk about certain things or something?
I have no idea about that.
Yeah, see, this is where, Rogan goes over to, Spotify, gets his 100 mil, like, peace, I'm out. But the thing is that all of these things become targets. So you go, hey, we're all going to the freedom community, let's all go over to Spotify. No, that's not it. We need to have, what we were looking to do is be, see, I'm an old activist from, late 80s. In the 90s, if we would have had QR codes to promote our websites, I've been, oh, hell yeah. Because we were political activists. We're putting websites up all over the place. You're doing that, you're like Ron Paul Revolution kind of stuff. And we're like, yeah, just go there, search it, look at it. This is before search engines. If you didn't promote your site, they didn't find you. And Yahoo was just, a couple of guys that here's some cool places. Oh, you want to be on our cool place list? We'll fill out our cool place form. I mean, it was not the way it is now.
You know what a cool place is? The Spokane Comedy Club on July 17th of 2020. I think that's going to be a cool place that Sam Tripoli is going to be at.
That what's going to be at?
You're a pro, Mike. You're a pro. I'm going to be at the Spokane Comedy Club on July 17th, and then July 18th, I am at the Tacoma Comedy Club, and I'm also doing the Buffalo Heliums July 9th through the 11th, man. So I'm super excited about that. Back on the road. And, dude, I'm all about this, man. I am all about this. I am very nervous that, when people get too big, my show isn't even big and they're just messing with it. I don't get it. It's like, these people are so much bigger. Why are you coming after me? And it's just like, it's really crazy, dude. So you don't even have to get that big. You just have to be hitting the nerves they don't want you to hit. I mean, like when I did something on the Pesar family, I pronounce it wrong all the time. Dude, all 4 of the major tech companies did something to me within 1 week. Apple, Twitter, Facebook, and Google all came after me and did something. They took down I still haven't got my Twitter back. They made it so it showed that they were acting like nobody was listening to Tinfoil Hat on their podcast, section. Facebook said I couldn't add anybody to my Facebook fan page. And who else was there? And everybody messed with me on one day within a 7-day span. So I hit for the cycle and I feel pretty good about it. But like I said, like you don't even have to get Joe Rogan big for them to mess with you. It's just you just got to keep hitting on the topics they really don't want people to know about.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ricky.
No, go ahead. No, I was just going to say that, I had issues with Del Bigtree when he was on my show. And I know everybody had issues with Del Bigtree when they're on their show. And so it doesn't matter how big your show is. I mean, my show's not very big. And yet they, I assumed maybe they'd give me a pass. And they didn't. iTunes wouldn't play the show. I had fans emailing me, telling me that, hey, for some reason, your latest episode won't play. And I've heard other hosts, I think Crime America, and I think when he was on there, they had a similar issue, and other people had similar issues anytime they had Del Bigtree on, because he was hitting on the very, taboo topic of vaccines. So I think that's a huge issue. Now, Mike, you said that, we're kind of doing something like Napster. Now, for people who are concerned about okay, Napster, you would share stuff from one computer to another. So it's like peer-to-peer type of thing. But how would you get people to their website if they still wanted that? Because you're basically sharing stuff. And remember, I am computer retarded. So so you're saying it's peer-to-peer, but how do you get, if you wanted to, is it just one of those things where okay, I see this person's work and then I'm going to search them or look them up? Or is there a way of linking it directly to them?
So when it comes to referencing a file within the interplanetary file system?
Well, you said, I guess first, you said it's kind of like Napster. So I'm assuming you're saying it's like peer-to-peer.
Yeah.
How does that work then?
So this is a real a broad overview of how I believe the IPFS works. It's like an application. You download it. You can drag and drop a file, or you have a share folder on your local computer, and that means that you want to share it with the rest of the network. So Sam's over there in California. He wants to download the newest OBDM video that I have in my share folder. Well, since I added it to my folder, it then becomes available to him across the network, and then that kind of propagates out. If you wanted to share that link externally, I don't know how that works. So I don't know how that file is referenced. If you want to share that direct link to somebody on Twitter, I don't know about if that's possible yet, because you have to have the application.
It's old school. You have a file, and what everybody has become used to is they want it to go viral, or it's how many people have liked it, or how many people have shared it, or then it gets pushed on YouTube, and yada 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 yada. All that goes away. What happens is when you have the file, I give you an example of what we did when the Plandemic movie was getting censored and so on. We knew the people that were financing it, and their supporters and stuff too, and they were having problems with it. I go, not a problem. We got it taken care of. We took that file, the data, and we loaded it up on the IPFS, and then on a story on Freedom's Phoenix, we put in there, and it said, Plandemic movie permanently stored IPFS or something like that. And when anybody would put Plandemic movie, or God forbid IPFS, it would show up in the search engines, but not Bing, because Bing is Bill Gates and Microsoft, okay? So Bing would not, so it's a search engine problem. So then it was shared, well, then Facebook, they go, oh, you're not allowed to share that anymore. Then people would tweet, oh, you're not allowed to. I mean, it gets censored that way with people sharing it like what you're talking about. Well, that's where the ISPs start to come in. Oh, you're not allowed to share that. We found out from a listener that all links on Freedom's Phoenix, he can't email on his Cox email account. They have even censored your ability to send a link in Cox. And I'm going, and he took weeks of just pounding on it. He wanted to know. He's an older guy. He goes, nope, I got nothing else to do. I'm finding out what the hell is going on. And he told us. He goes, you're on a list. And I'm okay. So what happens is, can you access the ones and zeros of the hash that is an IPFS file? Yes, for now.
Okay.
So how do you promote it? Well, you need to have search for IPFS, which is the next stage of what we're working on now. So when you do that, the metadata that comes in with the headline, we take a file from Corbett or from Freedom's Phoenix and it goes over and then it has the headline. I go, okay, well, where do we put that headline? Well, that headline has to go onto another IPFS file, master list, that has the name, and then it has the hashes that go with it. That's the search engine. Well, we created that. It's called sitepens.net, just as a demonstration that Derek put together to show that you can do it. So it's just development. It's just, somebody that gives a crap and, wants to do it. But if you guys started going to using IPFS, well, then that information, can be put onto a separate page that is the search page. And it works kind of like Google does, because Yahoo used to be a recommendation because of whatever they like. Then you have the robots and the crawlers and so on that go out and copy all the links and caches all the everything for like Google. You're not searching the internet. You're searching all the servers of the internet on Google. Now, if we were to do that ourselves in IPFS, you would have a master list that you just go search there and it produces the hash. So this is going to happen. It's just how fast it's going to happen. So I know it's going to happen. What I knew is, like we did with Freedom's Phoenix, we wanted to archive all the news. We wanted to save all the video. We wanted to have all the links. We wanted to make sure we got the headline. We didn't change the headline or edit it. We put the summary up. We have it. So when all this good knowledge, and it's, Winston 1984 is in there deleting in the memory hole crap, we're not. And that's what you guys can be doing. If you're seeding IP, keep doing everything that you're doing, whatever you think you can get away with, but you store all your data on IPFS, and then you have it, tagged, and you got your keywords and all that other stuff. Well, that's the search engine on IPFS, and it's Internet 2.0 kiss my ass. That's what we're working on.
I love it. I'm involved.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love all of it. I don't understand it at all, but I love it. And I would love to interview you about this so we could take it and make it digestible for, the people who flunked first grade like myself. And because I think it's very important.
You is from Tim Pachote. Tim Pachote's a good friend. He comes on my show a lot. Man, he's always talking about you, man. He's like, oh, you got to get on. I go, what these guys need to do, they're going to be going away. Because of what you're saying, the stuff that you're doing, the passion you have, the popularity, and it's not in the status quo, the mainstream, whoever the hell they want. Because it's a freeing of the mind thing. Just the fact that you can have a thought, God forbid what it is. This is why I'm excited about you guys just start. Any of you just start doing this as a side thing. It's just you learn about it. One of you guys will figure it out, and we could work on. We're just so busy doing other stuff, getting our Love Bus tour going, and but sooner or later we'll have a plug and play for everybody. I tell you, the big plug and play, the motivation is we've been offered $20,000 if we get on it, and it's really not money; it's just time. I'm going. We're going to get to it. We're not going to get there any faster with 20,000 as we are going to do it. We just don't. We got other priorities. So the thing is that once we do the search thing, and a lot of them are doctors. They're the guys in the vaccine industry. They're natural health people. They're ones that have solutions and cures and whatever going up against big pharma. That's what's really driving a lot of this stuff. And you got whatever conspiracy theory you can come up with, but the solution is always the same. It's decentralization of information. IPFS is not a place. It's a protocol. It's a method of being able to have your Raspberry Pi with an external drive, put all your stuff on, and now it's permanently archived on the entire internet, and it being copied with everybody doing it. I mean, I've been screaming this stuff for years. You know, a lot of the guys, a lot of the guys I know, and they're like, there goes Ernie again. I go, yeah? How are you feeling now that you're deplatformed, demonetized, and everything? How's that going?
Next time we get you back on, Ernest, we're going to have to fix your microphone.
You know, I think it's going through the head. It wasn't picking up. You know, is it going the same now? Are you still here? No,
yeah.
It is going.
Yeah, it's not your microphone. It's not your headset. Your headset's not using. It's just it is what it is. But we thank you for being here, man. We'll just next time we'll fix it up.
Yeah, you know, you guys can yak it. I just wanted to make sure you kind of got a beat on it, and I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited for you guys. I mean, we're already there. I mean, we're on the way up. That's how we planned it. A lot of the people I knew, they were at the top, and then they got the shit kicked out of them, and they're down. And I'm going, that is, it has to be a terrible feeling. Well, we went the other way. I'm going, no, I know that I'm the revolution guy, man. I know they come after my ass, so I'm not even going down that road. So we went a different way. Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, Ernest.
Well, anytime, dude. It was wonderful to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, it's a publisher at freedomsphoenix.com, and you can get hold of me, publisher at freedomsphoenix.com, and we'll hook up.
All
Thanks,
right.
guys. Peace.
Bye, Ernest.
Thanks, Ernest. See you.
Thanks, Ernest. Have fun at Porkfest.
Is that a real thing? Porkfest?
Yeah. It's where
Bunch
old
of fat
guys
chicks?
go to. Yeah. That's it. It's a swingers fest. You go
Is
to
it
pork.
really?
Yeah, you go to pork at the fest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you fucking with me right now?
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
actually some libertarian. Well, it is one of those things. So Richard Grove's been trying to get me to go there forever, and because we're not too far from it, because he's in Connecticut, I'm from Massachusetts, and he's like, oh, well, let's go up there. And Ernest is actually the one who got Richard Grove to go the first year. He loves it, and he's been a bunch of years. But I think there's actually some funding of the Koch brothers in this thing, and I'm like, that's a little weird. And then, but you're like, oh, but they're libertarians and all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, but I still feel a little weird about it. But
no, dude, it's like that's what they listen, man. It's like I'm more and more I feel I'm like a libertarian and on a lot of things, and but it's like the things that they focus on. It's not the Libertarian Party. It's the leadership, and it's just like every other group.
Well, one thing that drives me nuts is like, and I'm with you. I love. Most of my views will be right in line with libertarians, like not because I joined the party or I believe with everything they say, but it just happens that, how do you argue with like, hey, do what you want to do. You have the right to pursue happiness as long as I have the right to pursue happiness. We don't get in each other's way, freedom, all that stuff. When it comes down to vaccines, I'm very much a libertarian. Like, hey, don't fucking have the government overreach and try to poke my kids with anything or whatnot. But I think, some people, they focus on this property rights thing. It's like property rights is like the most important thing. And it's, or certain.
Well, my biggest problem with the Libertarian Party is what they go after. They go after free college, and we all agree. But the way they sell it doesn't make any sense. And then they go after healthcare when they should be pushing, free market. They really don't go into why it's not a free market. And then when they talk about the, healthcare, they're always talking about, a private sector or a private business can't compete with the government. That's great. Then why don't you ever talk about Google, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube that are fully funded by the government? How come that is never discussed? I've never heard it once ever. Any libertarian I've ever had on my show never brings it up. And I'm not, because most of them are wonderful people who have heart. Again, it's like the leadership steers the party one way because I think they're all corrupted, just like the DNC and just like the RNC. Again, libertarians are most likely the party that I identify with the most over time of being in the truth community. But it's like what they produce, what they promote doesn't make sense if you're really trying to win this battle of hearts and minds, in my opinion.
Well, Ron Paul, I mean, I loved Ron Paul when he ran. I mean, it was hard to disagree with him on many things. He had logical explanations. One thing that I loved about him, and it was just the fact that he seemed like a real person who actually had a real beliefs. And that's what he was. I didn't agree with him on everything, but I'm like, at least, I mean, I guess it's kind of the appeal to Trump too. It's like, well, at least I kind of know what I'm getting. Like I might not agree with him on everything, but he has a ideology that he's willing to explain and he sticks to it, where the alternative is I vote for somebody who tells me they believe in these things, but the second they get my vote, they do whatever the fuck they want and you don't know what they believe. So, I mean, that's the thing about certain, I guess, people like Ron Paul or Trump, the appeal is the fact that you kind of feel like, okay, what you see is what you get. I kind of know where they stand. I mean, even though obviously once you become president, a lot of that does change. I mean, there's so many things. I mean, imagine the amount. I mean, we all, I'm sure, we've had moments in our lives where we're super busy and we have emails and we're trying to catch up on stuff and we're stressed out. Now, imagine being the president where you have economic issues, you have health issues, you have geopolitical issues, and all these advisors coming to you, like just saying, hey, you have to think about this. We got to do that. We got to do this. Then somebody else who has a conflicting opinion and says, no, I think he's wrong. You should really do this. You should. I mean, the amount of mental ability, is that a sample from Porkfest?
That's Trump's sign right there.
I made fun of Porkfest, but there's actually a lot of good speakers there, and anytime you gather a lot of really interesting people from alternative media, I'm sure it's a great event. I do always worry about the funding and whatnot, but I will admit,
the Koch brothers took the Clintons. They're the reason the Clintons became the Democratic Party, and they funded the Clintons to bring the Democratic Party to the center and more conservative. I mean, they are the conservative version of George Soros, but not I believe, maybe. I don't think on that level. I could be wrong, but
this is the issue, right? The left thinks that the Koch brothers are the root of all evil and behind everything, and then the right thinks Soros is the root of all evil and behind everything. And one side thinks China's the worst, and the other side thinks Russia's the worst. And it's like there's all these boogeymen, and really at the end of the day, like it's all about money and power. And a lot of these people are in cahoots and working together in the first place. No one really give a shit about your ideology or what you stand for.
But yeah, that's totally 100% correct. But there is proof that the Koch brothers 100% steered the Democratic Party to where they are right now. They funded it, and on top of that, George Soros. So I do get worried. I do think there is, it's like Chomsky said, "Show me the clean money, and I'll take it." I don't know where the clean money is, but when we're talking politics, I do get very nervous when the Koch brothers are paying for Subway for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the Koch brothers finance NPR.
Yeah, that makes me nervous too. It's like I don't listen to NPR.
I don't listen to it either. But you don't. They don't like. They're not in a huge hurry to tell you, "Oh, we're brought to you by the Koch brothers." Those boogeymen that everybody hates.
Well,
they're kind of like.
And Bill Gates also throw some money that way. I know in Corbett's documentary, it showed how he influences the media in so many different ways. I mean, he really is the Rockefeller of our time in regards to just his influence on so many different aspects of our life, health, media, all this stuff. And I mean, and it's not to say, like, there's a documentary called Making a Killing, right, about the history of the DSM. And it's about, I mean, I actually, I can't say promote it, but I would recommend it to people and say, hey, look this up. It's a great documentary about how psychological issues is basically the most unscientific thing ever, but yet their Bible is called the diagnostic, whatever it's called, a diagnostic, whatever the DSM stands for. But it's all based on like assumptions, like, hey, if somebody seems like they're acting like this, then you give them this pill and they could have this and they could have, it's not scientific at all. And the history of it, and then come to find out, this documentary, which I think was pretty well put together and had some really good information, was funded by some company that was linked to like Scientology. And I'm like, oh fuck. And I'm like, but it's one of those things where I'm like, well, you know what? I might have suggested.
Scientology hates like
they do big pharma. They do, yeah.
They hate, especially the mental health industry.
And that's what that was about.
Don't be glib, Sam.
I'm trying not to be glib. My friends, these comic twins that live in the Inland Empire, they live next to this giant like Scientology compound, and there's this whole notion that they kidnap homeless people, and you be driving by, you'll see some guy in a white suit like, help me. People are like, just keep driving. It's like kind of crazy and creepy.
Well, that's what set Tom Cruise off with Matt Lauer, was all that big pharma stuff. And he just kept saying, Matt, don't be glib. Don't be glib, talking about big pharma and everything. It made him look like an insane person. He was probably a little bit more correct.
I mean,
on a side note here, have any of you guys talked to Ben Swarn? Do you know what he's doing, his platform? I don't know anything about it.
I know he was getting the funding and building it up, but I didn't hear about. But his is like he wants to have a place for all of us to, in fact, upload to.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure exactly what he was talking about. He was being, he wasn't going into a lot of detail about it in our last call, but I wondered if somebody knew what he has, how far along it is.
I just know it's between him and Isaac Weishaupt, and who's the heartthrob of conspiracies. Right?
Oh.
I mean, talk about killing it at Pork Fest. Am I right?
They're both good. I mean,
there's
they're
gonna be a line around the block to hook up with those two. Mine's like fucking no lines, no way. I'm like the teacup line. Nobody gives a fuck. Nope. Well, my girl's in the room. She doesn't like hearing that.
Well, I know that Ernest, when I talked to him on his show, he was talking about like even all these projects and his projects. You'd be surprised how quickly you can get funding for it. Like they'll put a whatever website they use, but they'll just put out this thing where like, hey, help us out. We're trying to create this or whatnot. And he's like, if you needed some funding for it, and I don't know how much cocaine Mike's going through to get all this done, but if you needed some cocaine money,
we know it's not crystal meth. We know it's like got to be coke, right? Coke, crystal meth. He'd be.
Well, he wants his teeth.
Out.
Yeah, he still does a video show. He wants his.
He would
teeth.
have glory holes in all the walls. That's how we know it's not.
Well, I wonder if we could, if you create an app, if we could have like Pornhub fund it, and then you could just have ads of like boobs and stuff like that on it. Kind of like.
But then you're bringing in the CIA if you bring in Pornhub.
Yeah,
can't have that.
We'll just fund it ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, like. There's got to be somebody with some cash out there. I know that Jimmy Dore is talking about a billionaire wanted to help him, and I think everybody wants to create their own shit, and I'm fine with that.
Well, let's ask that question, Mike. How much money are we looking at to
$1 million?
How much money are we looking at to get?
Well, because does it require like some serious finances to really take the next step, or can you kind of do all this?
I can do all the app building. The servers right now cost about $30 a month. It depends on how much traffic they get. That could be more, but I can keep the cost low. That's not really a big issue. Everything I do is to goof around. I like to have a good time, and if I can make apps and things that make things in life more enjoyable and more fun, great. That's why I do it.
We have Nikolai Tesla on the call.
I mean, that's when I have fun with
it. Really similar. Like this idea of like you really are just motivated by making the world better.
Yeah, it's fun. I just like to goof around. I do have an idea that I was trying to pitch to Tommy G. It's a patentable technology. It's probably $100 million idea because it would change the face of personal data.
Look at Sam. He's like all of a sudden interested.
I have it. I've had this idea for about 4 or 5 years. I've talked to an intellectual property attorney about it. I haven't written down the description, but this would change the face and talk about the front line of owning stuff and really going up against the system. This would do it. And I'm not going to.
You need $100 million to make it happen?
That is what it is worth at the bare minimum.
What do you need to make this happen?
A little bit of money and time. I probably need 3 engineers plus myself, and that's it. And then promotion and a patent attorney, and that is it.
Well, I think where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
And
I got to write down all the specs for it, but it's serious. Like it could fund everything. And I think people would be clamoring for it as things start to go down the line. and things start to get a little bit more crazy, you're not sure what you can do here or there, your personal data is going to be very important. So I think people are going to be looking for ways to maybe understand what's going on around them.
Looks like
I'm
we
all
found the
in.
cocaine money.
Yeah, dude. Let's talk some narcos, bro. They used to fund football teams. Let's get some narco money. Build this thing up.
Duffel bag.
It's. I don't think it would. I think I could do it. And I've talked to. I have an engineer, a good friend of mine, who probably would build it with me, and it would fit right into the catalog of technology of the IPFS, of decentralizing stuff, doing things your own way, kind of pirate stuff. But people would buy it. It would be a good product.
I'm in. What do I got to do? I got $20.
I will pitch you guys the idea offline. And
I've got a patent attorney buddy of mine I can bring into this as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's a game changer. It's a disruptive product.
Ooh, I like it.
That's awesome. And is this an idea you've had for a long time, Mike? Something you've been working on for a long time, or
a little bit here and there? I've been refining the idea, and there's a couple different angles to it. So it's a base idea, and there's a couple different avenues you can go down with it. I don't know which is the correct decision to go down.
Are they going to make us go to Burning Man to make this happen?
I hope not, but
okay, good. I can't go to Burning Man now because I know how shady that shit is, man. I totally wanted to go there and trip balls, but I can't now because that's where all the dark arts are.
You can come to an Acapulco.
I never get invited.
What do you mean you didn't get invited?
Yeah.
Nobody invites me. Nobody tells me where all the action's at.
Yeah, Charlie.
Well, the action's at Pork Fest, but
Pork. I know. I just want to go there and just give an hour speech on something. Just spitball.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is.
I found Ben Swan's site. He has it up.
What's that?
It is the IC Goria. It's the name's taken from an ancient Greek meaning equality in all speech. And so you can sign up to create an uncensored blockchain-based decentralized news and entertainment platform with funding mechanism for independent media. So he's got it up.
Can you share that on screen?
Yeah,
we have the technology.
It's streaming out to YouTube right now. It's not on the Zoom screen because if I do that, Zoom will crash. I just know from
respect.
So yeah, it's up there. I'll put the link in the description so everyone can check it out.
I got to shave my shoulders. That's what I just noticed in this whole.
You got some Josh Potter action going on there.
So,
no, I'm not that bad.
Not
Come on. Come on.
They have.
Nobody's Josh Potter.
Dude, if I was Manscaped, I'd be like, here's 20 grand. Let us go to work and just fucking go to town. If I was Josh Potter, I'd just walk through the forest so everybody thinks there's a Bigfoot, right? I'd just be just far enough so nobody knew who it was.
Bigfoot with glasses on.
Yeah, blind Bigfoot. I'm excited about that. I like a lot of stuff you guys talk about. I don't quite understand, but it sounds like it's killer, and I'm all in. I do believe we need to figure out a way. He's totally right when Edgar was talking about ERNEST, right? ERNEST, sorry, was talking about, how can we get even off their servers or all their stuff, because that's how they're going to mess with us. They could just, they've gone into broken simulation and taking out videos and nobody even knew they did it. It's like, how can we get off of being on, I'm on Spectrum. It's awful. It's awful.
I think Dropbox, people have had problems with Dropbox going into their accounts, Google Drive, all that stuff. People have had issues with them actually going in their personal accounts and removing stuff. I think there's a case with the Plandemic documentary where that happened. And I think the No Agenda podcast was talking about it. But it was, without a doubt, it's almost like, okay, what's the next step? The next step's like make them completely obsolete or at least
tell you something, man. I used to I rip all these like conspiracy movies so that they wouldn't disappear. And then I would later go back and I would play these videos, and for some reason out of nowhere the audio didn't work. It just didn't work. But then on other videos that weren't conspiracy, that wasn't the problem. And I'm like, when I hear about people, them going to Dropbox and all that stuff, I'm like, what's stopping them from going in and like just messing with those videos on my computer because they know that I'm ripping them or I'm having them or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it was all the Dr. Judy, is it Dr. Judy Wood and all about the dance, the Israeli art students.
Mm-hmm.
And you watch it and then the audio was gone. And I'm like, why did the audio just disappear from this video? And it happened only on the videos in this particular file. Like the David Hogg, when he's counting, when he's slating the video, dude. He's like, okay, Tuesday, 11 a.m., we're interviewing Sarah, and it's like the shooting didn't happen till 2. That audio just gone. It's definitely possible they could be getting into that.
Yeah, I mean that's all possible. So what, Mike? For us who didn't quite understand, how do you bypass that issue? Is there a way of like
bypassing what them getting into your servers?
Yeah, is there a way or
so? What?
Not really.
What Ernest was talking about is that you have to use an internet service provider to access all this information. The only way to bypass that is to not use the infrastructure of the internet as we know it. The only alternative to that would be some sort of near field communication. Like my computer has a broadcast range, hypothetically, of 100 feet. It can broadcast to another computer 100 feet away. There is a way to do this through ham radio technology, to broadcast internet signals through ham radio technology that exists to bypass the internet as we know it. That's a heavy-duty topic of conversation, which I don't know a lot about, but it is possible to do.
Yeah, I heard Ernest talk about it on his show with another guest that was on there. This idea of like computers communicating with each other.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously that would work in like New York, you know, but if you're obviously and living on a farm or whatnot, you know, it would be a huge issue. But
we also get a problem though, is that it's not just that we don't want to get messed with. We also, it's like we want these to be heard. So that is the weird kind of. It's like we can make the greatest video ever, but if 5 of us watch it, what is the purpose of that? We all agree it's pretty awesome. So it's like, how do we get this kind of? I mean, I think Rogan, when he goes to Spotify, has come to grips with, I'm gonna lose a percentage of my listeners and viewers. What is that number? I don't know. Let's say he gets 10 million an episode. That tends to be just on YouTube, so I'm sure the audio has to be much more. And what's it going to drop? So let's say it's 20 mil an episode, which is definitely possible, right? So he's at 20 mil an episode. What's it going to drop down to? 10? That's great for him, but for us, it's like if we get our good number, and I'm blessed that I get what I get. But it's like if I go down to somewhere, it's like, I mean, I'm using a tin can at this point. Like, hey, you know, the lizard people are all bisexual, and like 3 people listen to it. It's like, what is the purpose of that? So that's our medium that we need to figure out.
Yeah, I agree. It's like we have to play in the world of the New World Order to talk about it. Everything that like I'm building and what Ernest is building, that's to me, those are fallback contingency plans. Like if can't upload to my podcast server through Libsyn, then I will use this. Like that is all backup, worst case scenario kind of stuff. And better build it now and have it and not need it than holy shit, we're taking off everywhere and there's no backup plan. So everything that is going on and I'm trying to build right now is just contingency. It's fun to do and it helps promote everyone else.
Now, for people listening who they saw the Twitter account was obviously made, the Union of the Unwanted.
Yes.
They see that there's a DLive link. Mike, you want to tell people what you're doing with that and what exactly you're doing with that channel and how often they'll be able to find content on there?
Yeah, so the DLive link, the Union of the Unwanted, you can go to DLive.tv, UOTUW. And what is being played there is a bunch of different videos from Sam, OBDM, Charlie, Ricky. We have Jamie Deluxe, and whoever else who wants to join. Just kind of stream it. Usually about 12 hours of material, and it's just kind of repeated, kind of shuffled at this point. And it's just kind of our own TV station. And so ideally, that channel will be updated every other day or every day from the content that is provided to it from brokensimulation.com. And it's just a way to kind of just go on there, turn it on like a TV, like you're just back in the day, you just, walk by a TV and turn on a station and whatever's on is on. That's kind of the philosophy of it. And then ideally, we'll have a streaming radio station for longer form MP3s as well. So that's the idea of it. And I don't know, it seems to be going pretty well. I'm just doing some test streaming. That's it.
Anything I can do to help? I mean, like, maybe bang some cymbals like a monkey or anything. Just let me know. I'd love to help. I'm all about that. Guys, I have to jump up off. I have I love these, dude. You guys send me emails and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here, but I love being a part of this. So please keep me a part. And when you break it down for stupid, just let me know and I'm all in. Okay.
Absolutely. And just again, for anybody who doesn't know Sam, he's going to be at Spokane Comedy Club July 17th. Then he's going to be at the Tacoma Comedy Club July 18th. Go to samtripolilive.com.
Buffalo Helium. I have to add that to my website. Buffalo Helium's July 9th through 11th. So thank you, guys. I love everybody on here. You do a great job. Charlie, I'm sorry I cut you off that one time. My apologies. I owe you an amendment.
We're going to talk so much shit about you, too, after you got off the phone about that one incident.
About that one incident. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, everybody who watched. You're the best. Take care.
See you.
Take care.
I am just I'm just testing the stream and I'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm trying to stream some stuff over there to D-Live. I'll see what happens. I'm just testing how long I can stream for until something happens, until it breaks. So it's all a work in progress. That's it. So.
Well, I love it. I mean, I'm kind of like in Sam's boat where I understand a little bit of it. I get the concept of it for sure, but the technical components of it are a bit over my head. But still, this is something that we have to be proactive about instead of being reactive and like saying, oh, they took all my stuff down. Now what am I getting? Like Sam had that problem last fall, and it was just like, I don't know that he had. I think he understood that it could happen, but there's a lot of work backing everything up and doing all this, and maybe.
So that's my goal, is to do an auto backup with this stuff as I download these videos from Sam's site. Some of them, like hypothetically, some of these are not taken down right away if they become controversial. So I will be able to download them within 24 hours, and then ideally move those right over to the interplanetary file system. So they're going to be there. Same with, so everything that I'm scraping and getting is going to be archived in some fashion. That's the ultimate goal here, is to preserve that. So when Sam or anybody loses something, they're like, holy shit, it's all gone. It's like, nope, it is stored over there. And we'll upload it again and provide links.
Well, and I think that will be the draw for a lot of people that want to get involved with this, with their content, would be that they'll know that in the event that something bad goes down, this is sort of like a external hard drive, so to speak, for the way they can think of it as, I give these guys all my content to stream, in addition to my existing site, I put it up here with Union of the Unwanted, and then they put it out. But one of the nice things is that they've got a backup of it as well. So in the event that I need it at some point, I can. So somebody like James Corbett, who's got his own thing going on, but he may still want to contribute his content to this because, for one, it's another stream for his content to get out for people to find it, but also it serves a dual purpose as being a backup system for him as well. So it doesn't hurt to have this.
I was actually going to ask him about that yesterday, and I completely forgot. That was one of the questions I was going to ask him, if he wanted to join the stream. But one thing, if you watch his show enough times, one thing that he constantly runs into is a listener will email him and say, hey, can I do this with your work, or can I do that? And he's like, it's always yes. You can put my stuff anywhere, and that's why I have a very similar thing where I always tell people, hey, upload it anywhere you want. I don't care. Like, it's about sharing the stuff. And, you know, it's different for somebody maybe like Sam or it's, well, not now, but in the past when he was making money off YouTube, it was a little different. He wanted obviously to get the money for his own videos. But, you know, if you can find some alternative way of making money like James does, it's all listener funded, put the stuff out there and just let people spread it like wildfire. And that's another great way of kind of bypassing a little bit of censorship, is just letting people upload it wherever they want. So
yeah, the next phase to this is, once I get a web interface, is that anybody who has an account, there are going to have to be some approval processes in place. They'll be able to submit a link to a video to send to the site to be archived and to be played in the channel for the next playlist rotation. And then coupled with that, as each video is played, send out a tweet. It's going to send out a tweet to the Union of the Unwanted Twitter address, so kind of people know what's being played currently on the station. So
that is like
awesome.
a radio station. That's kind of cool. That's the, you know, hey, we've got, you know, guess what, or it's kind of like TV Guide in a sense. Guess what's coming up later tonight? We're going to have this show, and this show. And you're like, oh shit, that's cool.
So before a show played at the same time, it would tweet and just say, hey, this is streaming right now. So if you're on Twitter, you would, you know, be whatever, watching or scrolling on Twitter, and all of a sudden you see a tweet by that Twitter account. You're like, oh crap, they're showing a, you know, OBDM show right now. Let me go on the stream and see what's on. And like you said, just have it on in the background. When you tweeted that, I put it on in the background, and I was, for a while, I was listening to my own show. And I'm like, why am I still listening to myself right now? I'm like, I hate the way I sound on podcasts, but I just found myself just having to play in the background. And it's a great idea. If you're a person who wants to listen to alternative media into some different perspectives and opinions, you just have it play on the background. You don't know what's going to come on next. It could be a show you've never heard, or a old show you haven't heard yet, or whatever it may be. And it's a great idea, because that's exactly kind of what we're pushing and want, is people to be exposed to different perspectives and different opinions and whatnot. And, you know, this censorship stuff is getting crazy. And it's nice to still have podcasts where, at least for the most part, it seems like you can find some honest discussions about some topics, and with limited, I guess, censorship at the moment with our RSS feeds and stuff like that. In some cases, you know, they still have censorship, but I think it's a better alternative than almost anywhere else. When you look at YouTube, when you look at obviously mainstream media, or going on Google. I mean, if you subscribe to a podcast on your podcast app, for the most part, you can find some really interesting stuff on there. So we need to keep that alive.
Yeah, I agree. Oh boy, we should wind this down, guys. I got to go walk my dogs. It's time. Let's get out of here.
Well, thanks for setting it up, Mike.
No problem. Anytime. It's easy to do.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. And keep us updated on all this stuff in the emails. And like I said, any way we can help, we'll help.
Yeah, just promotion at this point. I keep you guys in the loop, let you know what's coming up next and where I'm at. Maybe next time we get, like, I don't know, conspiracy farm guy on, BS. It's nice having ERNEST on, but maybe we rotate in like another one or two other people.
Oh, yeah, Jeffrey's awesome. Yeah, he's much like us three, and Sam, where he's always down to get together and discuss stuff and whatnot. Maybe we'll do another one. We'll talk a little bit about this and just talk about a bunch of other shit, because there's a lot going on in the world that we haven't even scratched the surface on.
I'm bummed that we didn't get to solve racism in this call.
It was unfortunate, but there's always next show.
Okay. All right. It'll wait.
It's solvable.
It's been around a couple hundred years. It'll be there 2 weeks from now when we do it again. That's fine.
All right, everyone. The stream is over. We will talk to everyone next time. All the links in the description for everyone who appeared on the show. So thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right.